All right, moving on. The big story of the week. Brian Flores, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, recently fired and recently interviewed for 3 approximate coaching jobs in the NFL, has filed a civil lawsuit against the NFL, claiming a number of things. Number one, of course, discrimination in the hiring process in the NFL. Also, claims and alleged claims of payment to lose games. So his lawsuit goes for 2 things: 1, discrimination, hiring practices, and also 2, possibly competition that's been alleged. Who wants to kick it off?
Man, you go ahead.
Hey, just a caveat. Remember, we talked about coaching in the NFL last week. On the last episode, we were saying, hey, there's 8, 9 openings, and I think we all gave a number on how many black coaches would be hired.
No, I said 0.
Tyrone said 0. I think I said 1.
I said 1.
Yeah, me and Ben went for 1. So far, we're all right at this point because none have been hired, and there's 4 jobs left. So go ahead, Ben. Kick it off, man.
So I was scrolling through before this story broke. I was scrolling through through the timelines and stuff, and I saw that ESPN had hired Angela Rye as a spokesperson,
Contributor.
and I was like, why would they have to hire Angela Rye at ESPN? And then the very next day, this story came out.
Wow, good timing.
Somebody knew something because this is big, and it's probably not big for Flores. I doubt this is going to help him get a job, and if he gets any money, it's going to be really far down the line. But this is big in applying pressure to these owners. And if fan bases want to use this as an example to apply pressure to their ownership, then this is a good stepping stone. I'm really glad that other coaches are coming up and supporting his narrative. I think that's important. I mean, I don't know in the grand scheme of things yet how it's going to play out. I mean, it's not going to change Jerry Jones's way of doing business. I just don't know.
All right, I'll go. I'll say this. I'm saying I am proud of Flores for what he's doing and attempting. Number one and foremost, this man has basically given up his career and is basically saying that this is important enough for me, possibly never to ever get a job in the NFL again in his chosen profession. That's number one. He's given up his career, at least on the NFL level. 2, I think the point of his suit is, of course, to 1, I don't think it's really about money. I think it's about creating the conversation and affecting change where possible. 3, I think he's bringing up a great point, even though it's alleged now, of competition. If the NFL stands for anything, the word they use the most is integrity. So if there is a question of competition as far as teams setting up coaches to fail, and in this case, and in one other case we've heard so far, specifically black coaches being set up to fail, then that's a big problem. And I'll stick to that point. What that says to me is one thing. 1, would you ever ask a non-minority coach to tank games? 2, if so, coach is involved in tanking these games, then they're stuck with that record for the rest of their life. 3, that's a perfect excuse to fire them at the end of the run. because they lost these games for the team and the owner's benefit. There go, they'll never get another job in the NFL again. And that story kind of rings true for Hugh Jackson, if it's all true. Head coach, he had a good 2-3 year run, and I don't mean good by winning games because he didn't win a lot of games. Made a little money, but has never sniffed a head coaching job again in the NFL. And you can pretty much say that's to his record. He won what, 8 games out of 40?
Who, Hugh Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won 0-16, 1-15, and then
1-6.
6-10 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So he won a grand total of maybe 7-8 games in the 3 seasons, and never got back into the head coaching realm. He barely got an assistant coaching job. I think Marvin Lewis had to bring him in for that.
Let me interrupt you for a second. But on Twitter, he stated in his words that he was paid a substantial amount for the 2016 and 17 season where they went 0-16 and 1-15.
Correct. Now, we don't know the structure of that payment. We don't understand the arrangement of that payment. In reading,
But he said he had incentives to lose.
Yeah, let me just read in between the lines. I took it as this, is that he didn't coach to lose, but he coached with what they gave him. And that what he keeps repeating and reiterated on an interview he did this morning is that they had basically had a plan, a 4-year plan to lose, which meant that, hey, you don't get to keep veteran players. 2, you might put people on IR who probably shouldn't be on IR. 3, we're not going to give you anything to really be successful. Play with what you got. And, if we win 1 or 2 games, great, but no big deal if you don't. And I think his payment was for just getting along and going along. I just want to make sure it's nothing other than that. And that's what we need to find out. To me, I don't see it that way.
So,
but we'll find out. But I don't think that's the bigger point yet.
So let me jump in here. 2 things. Again, black coaches have to be careful about what jobs they take. Period. And I stick to that. If Hugh Jackson walked into this room and that was their 4-year plan, he should have said, thanks, but no thanks. Because he's now never going to get another head coaching job. Brian Flores, same thing. If you walked into Miami and they had no intention of winning, no intention of doing what they can to put your players in the best position or putting you in the best position, you walk out the door. Don't be so gung-ho to be a head coach for these dumbass owners when they're setting you up to fail. They're setting you up to fail.
So
they're setting you up.
So what Hugh Jackson described,
and we,
what Hugh Jackson described was that this structure was explained to him after he took the job.
Then you resign. Bill Belichick done it. Josh McDaniels done it. A bunch of coaches have taken jobs, signed their contract, 2 days later, quit. You don't sign up for something where you're going to lose. You're never going to get another job. Hugh Jackson, Jim Caldwell, Tony Dungy, all these black coaches, sorry, don't apply because you're never going to get a job.
Let's back up a minute here. Let's go back to the original part of the story, which of course is Brian Flores. What do we think will be the impact on the league?
0.
For this suit? Do we think it's going to make change? Do we think it will cause an investigation? What do you think will happen?
There will be no impact. None. They'll put something on the back of a helmet saying we care about black people and they'll keep it moving. Nothing's going to happen. Who on these owners, if the owners don't step up and say, yeah, this happened, it's 32 billionaires against a couple black guys. Sorry, we know how that's going to turn out.
What if the allegations of competition are true?
How you going to prove it?
That Bama should go to jail.
How you going to prove
the
it?
Bama in Miami should go to jail.
Prove it.
If they can prove it.
Prove it.
Well, you don't go to jail, but you probably lose your franchise.
You got to prove this stuff. How you going to prove it?
Well, Hugh Jackson says he believes he has documentation to prove it.
That's in Cleveland. What
Yeah.
Miami? He's saying this Miami dude offered him $100,000 per loss. Prove it.
Well, this is the good thing about class action suits. It gives you a little bit broader breadth to go through.
Yeah, you get
know.
to look at all the emails.
Yeah, you get to do exploratory. There's plenty of things. There's a phase it has to get through. One, it has to get through an exploratory phase to make sure it meets the criteria, and
The
that's when
Brian,
and that's when the NFL can ask, "Hey, can this be dismissed?" If they get through that, then it's open season, and you can start opening emails up. You can start, looking at contracts. You can just start looking at a whole bunch of stuff, and Discovery will hopefully find some proof for both cases.
the Brian Flores thing, I applaud him. He's got some courage. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I think I'd have took a different strategic way of doing this. I might have got a job first, then do it because you're done. I hope you have enough money saved up because you're about to go through 10 years of courts. The NFL is not going to let you just sue them and just in 2 years or a year you got money. It's not going to work like that.
Well, honestly,
They're going to keep going till you run out of money.
since this is a civil suit, I could say probably with 80% accuracy that I'm sure Flores is not paying these lawyers right now.
Yeah.
The only reason lawyers will enter into a civil suit, of course, is for the obtainment of a large settlement, and that will be their payment. So the question will be, how long will lawyers be willing to push this up a hill?
Exactly.
Because it's up to because they're going to get paid based on the civil suit itself and the decision of the suit.
Right.
So my thing is this: the NFL's rich and they can keep you in court for 10, 15, 20 years if they want to. And that would be the biggest concern: is how long is this going to take? If you want an example, like the Kurt Flood free agency ruling with baseball, that took 8 years to work out.
How long did that concussion? How long did that concussion stuff stay in court?
4 years, I think.
I mean,
so what's the best that can come out of this? To me, I'm thinking I don't think you'll never get the NFL to admit to being wrong. You'll never get them to admit to taking blame. But maybe you can get them to beef up the Rooney Rule. Maybe you can get them to beef up the transparency.
They've already beefed it up.
It's not beefed up. It just says interview 2 people. That's all it says.
And you get draft picks if you hire
they
black.
weighted it with draft picks and stuff like that.
They gotta do more than that.
What can you do? How can you make somebody hire somebody?
You can't make them hire somebody, but you could possibly. Now, one of the ideas, actually, Flores has an idea in his suit for improving it, and he suggests that they put in place hiring boards for coaches, that it becomes an independent process from the owner to make it as fair and square as possible. Basically, human resources needs to be involved. If I go to get a regular job, I deal with human resources. I just don't deal with one person, right? In most people's lives.
But
so that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
But human resources have no decisions on who gets hired.
They don't make the final decision, but at least it's ran fairly.
They create the pool. They create the pool that you pick from.
Correct.
So they're like the firewall. So
exactly
100 people applied. They look and they say no, only these 25, right? And then you pick from there. These coaches are looking amongst all their friends and family members and relationships and saying, "Hey, bruh, you want a job?"
Exactly.
And I think the only thing they could hope to get is transparency.
That's what he's asking for.
I think that's the only thing, because why waste his brother's time? You know what I'm saying? I mean, call these guys in first. If you just want to live by the Rooney Rule and say you did it, call these guys in first.
Exactly.
Don't call in the guy that they're not even smart about it. So that, which means they don't care about it at all.
Exactly.
I never liked the Rooney Rule from jump. Never liked it.
I didn't either.
And that
You-
didn't Johnny Cochran
How-
help that?
He negotiated that.
I don't know who. It was dumb.
He did.
You're asking 32 billionaires to go against everything that they've ever learned. You hire who you're comfortable with, who you like. That's the average work field.
No.
Whatever. And people get jobs on relationships.
Well,
People
sure.
People need
do
to
do
stop.
that.
People need to stop it. And to act like that doesn't apply to the NFL or the NBA, like you don't get a job because you know somebody. You acting stupid.
Dude, that's the only way they get jobs in the NBA.
Exactly.
and
So
NFL.
how are you going to change that?
I think what Ben is saying, and I think one of the things the suit does say is like we understand that. And I'll give you a new example for today. Of course, the Giants had just hired Brian Dable, which is part of this suit. Basically, Brian Flores interviewed for the job allegedly after the job had already been offered to Dable. Today, the Giants chose to hire their new offensive coordinator. And guess where the new offensive coordinator comes from? I'll give you one guess.
Where?
The Kansas City Chiefs. He is the current quarterback coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. I just find that hilarious because Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator of 8 years, a black coach who has yet to sniff a head coaching job.
It has not had an interview that you has not had an interview.
But they happen to take the guy that works underneath him,
Right.
and make him an offensive coordinator, which is a bump up for him.
Right.
I just found that hilarious today when I saw that. It just came across at like 5 o'clock. I was like, wow, that's pretty blatant to me. That, you know, you're going to go pick, and this guy's nothing against this guy, 34, young, only had 2 jobs in the NFL so far, just 2, both quarterback coaches. He's a former quarterback. So he's moved his way up the chain pretty quick, and he'll be a head coach probably in 2 years. So, you know, I found that interesting.
He'll probably be an OC next year. Yeah, and
1 year.
Yeah.
If they have a 500 record, he'll be a head coach.
Like I said, this whole Brian Flores thing, I applaud him. He's got some guts.
He does, man.
He's got some guts. But end result, the end result, or to say something will change, that's like it's not going to happen. Not in the NFL.
It sounds like the best.
Only way it's going to happen in the NFL is if you force some of these owners to sell to minority groups or something. Other than that, I don't see it. Your only black coach, Mike Tomlin, he don't got no black coaching tree.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
He ain't got no black coaching tree. Who he hired? Why ain't nobody asking those questions? And I'm sure these owners like, well, the black guy won't even hire his own people. Why should we?
I don't know what's on his staff, so I don't want to really.
No, I can tell you, it ain't no black coaches on his staff.
Not one.
No.
All right, I gotta look at that.
Ryan Clark talked about it on his podcast. So if I'm wrong, Ryan Clark's wrong.
Okay, and
Ryan
he's a
Clark
Steeler
will
for
know.
life. He's a Steeler for life. So that's the case. We know then.
It seems like the only good thing that could happen out of this is Mr. Flores could get a check.
He could get a nice settlement check.
And if it's a big enough check, that might help.
Well, the check just says that we have some problems and we're going to wash them away, is what it says.
Exactly.
And I don't think his goal is a check, though. I mean, he is seeking punitive damages. So, you know, if he gets a nice check, hey, great for him, and I'm happy for him. But the question is, is it going to affect any change at all?
Two things that I see that, well, if you get a minority owner group in there, that'll help. That's a big answer. But these black coaches, when they get these jobs, they got to do 2 things. They have to win, and then they have to hire their friends. They have to hire their black coaches under them. The coach, like you said last week, Benji, create a coaching tree.
Right.
Yeah.
But not winning, this ain't changing nothing, man.
Yeah.
Winning.
You gotta build the tree. I mean, and that's one of the things Lewis is doing as well in college. Now he's an advisor at college at Arizona State now, but I think he has a program where they're developing black coaches. Maybe the answer is at the college level with Dion, with what Dion has started.
You
What's
think
wrong?
Dion be coach?
No, I'm just listen to me. Dion, of course, is now a prominent coach in college football, and it's been a movement of some black coaches coming back in, like Hugh Jackson coaches at HSBC. You got Herm Edwards coaching out of Arizona State.
Eddie George.
What if they build out these coaching trees in college and then translate that to the NFL, just like you translated the black quarterback? Why can't we go that route? Could that help?
Because then that's a thing they hold against us.
But now that makes sense though, because like it or not, there's these families, these people, they have some equity built up in this position, right? It's not a merit. It's not exactly that they deserve it, but these families, these people have histories in these jobs. Like nobody is guaranteed to be in the family business, but like you said, there's nepotism in everything, right?
Yeah.
So if you have to start from somewhere, and being in the NFL, being assistant coaches, that's great, but also having that grassroots from college, like I said, like I think I said this before, the better players, then they can bring more coaches up with them, right? If they get a coach and they say, well, I want this guy to be my quarterback coach, or this guy can be our D-line coach, or whatever. The more you put in the pipeline, then the more comes out at the top. That's all I'm saying. And you just got to flood the zone,
Yeah.
Like you said, you can't force these people to change their mind. So that's the only thing. That's the only option you had.
If these coaches go to college and try to build a tree from college, that's just another thing for them to hold against these guys.
What are they going
to How do they hold that against them?
Because they're going to say you coach college, just like we said about other coaches. We said it about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a Super Bowl winning coach. Before he won that Super Bowl, they was like, he cannot coach in the NFL. So you think they held that against Pete Carroll? What do you think they're going to say about Dion that never even coached a Power 5 school?
Well,
what?
Pete Carroll.
What do you mean? What? This is facts.
Pete Carroll coached in the pros first, and his teams were horrible. Then he went to college.
He coached in college first.
Where did he coach in college first?
He coached in college first. Then he went to New England. He sucked. Then he went to USC.
Okay. So he didn't translate to the pros. We know that. But it didn't matter. He was going to get another opportunity. It's just the way it works out, right?
But what I'm saying is there's already things going against black coaches. This will be another one. College ain't going to work.
So Tyrone, what's the solution then, bro?
You're just saying they're going to move the goalpost.
What's the optimum situation then, Ty?
I just told you, if they get a job, you have to win.
Where would they get the job at, Ty?
Where would they get the job? Yeah. I don't know where they would get the job.
Who would you choose? They can't coach in college.
First of all, yes.
What are you saying?
You can't coach it. It's not gonna. You act like they don't move the goalposts. That you act like this is not a fact. The offensive coordinator of Patrick Mahomes can't get an interview because he doesn't call plays. Nick Sirianni can't even speak properly, and he got a job. What are we talking about right now?
Yeah, what we're talking about though is we get what you're saying, but then what's the solution? Is what Ben's trying.
There's no solution.
So if you can't coach in college,
what I am saying is there's no change going to happen. That's what I'm saying.
So you expect us to just live with that? Is that what you're saying?
You can live with it. You can protest. You can sing and dance. But I don't give a damn what you do. Them billionaires is letting off.
We gotta find solutions though. That's what the key is.
You could try to find them, and while them billionaires cutting off your money, you gotta try to find
solutions.
When them billionaires cutting off your money, you holler at me.
You gotta find solutions. We gotta find them because
you telling me Colin Kaepernick ain't better than Ryan Tannehill?
Oh, we know that.
Where's Colin Kaepernick at right now?
We know that.
sitting courtside at the Nets game.
Don't get me started on that because
That big ass fro.
I got different feelings on that.
That fro was mad.
Y'all know. I don't really abide by what everyone says about
Like
it.
I said, if a black coach does get a job, the only thing I can think of is win. And if you can win, hire a couple of your black friends to help you. Other than that, sorry, I don't see any solution here.
You know what? I'm gonna take out this. I like Ben's statement of flood the zone, because I think the more people you have in the room, the better your chances are going to be. So if you flood the coaching pipeline, if you flood the executive areas, if we can get more GMs, more people head of player personnel, things of that matter, then maybe some better choices can be made. But this is also what people got to realize, and this might be the Mike Tomlin thing you mentioned. Of course, once you get into any position of power, your goal is to keep your job. And so you may not want to be dependent on someone that's unproven to help you keep your job. And that's going to happen in coaching. That's going to happen at the executive level. That's going to happen in the player personnel levels. So then you're going to end up choosing people who may have more experience in certain areas versus taking a chance on somebody.
Yeah, but
and that's unfortunate, but it's human nature.
But look at this McVay guy, right? Doesn't he already have 2 assistants that have gone on to get head coaching jobs?
Sean McVay?
Yeah.
Now he'll have a third this after the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right.
The Kevin O'Connell, he'll be the new head coach of Minnesota, probably.
So he's been there 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So you telling me dude in Pittsburgh, he ain't been able to spin off one?
Apparently not.
Look at Matt LaFleur. Where was Matt LaFleur coaching at before Green Bay?
He coached for McVay. Right?
But he was like a quarterback coach. He wasn't an OC, right?
No, he's a quarterback coach.
Yeah.
And then he went from quarterback coach to head coach.
I think he might have been. He was like an offensive, they title him offensive coach, whatever. He wasn't an OC though. Now did I?
But anybody that think that was based on talent, that was based on his relationship in the good old boy club.
It was definitely based on relationships. All right, going back to that. So you look at Tony Dungy when he coached. He spun off a couple coaches, right?
Yes, he did. He did.
Spun off the guy in Pittsburgh we're talking about. He came out of under Dungy.
Defensive back.
Then the other coach used to coach Chicago Bears. What's his name?
Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith.
Oh yeah, Lovie. Yeah.
And think about this. Lovie Smith took Rex Grossman as a quarterback.
Made it to the Super Bowl.
And he can't sniff a job.
Nah. Well, he's in college, right? He was in college. So
he shouldn't be in college.
Yeah, he shouldn't be. But trees are important, man. And I just don't know how we get these trees started. And that's all I'm saying.
Like, where's Jim Caldwell right now?
He's not working.
Jim Caldwell is a Super Bowl coach, Super Bowl winning coach, right? Went to Detroit. Went to Detroit. Oh, but he went, right?
Yeah, he went.
He lost to the Saints. You're right. He lost to the Saints. Jim Caldwell lost to the Saints. But then he went to Detroit, went 8-8, and got fired.
Yeah, had a winning season. Actually, he took them to the playoffs twice.
And got fired for winning.
He took them to the playoffs twice. Yeah. Yeah, he took them to the playoffs twice.
Like, you got coaches that are turning around franchises, and they're like, whoa, this is too soon. And they're firing you. So to me to sit here and be like, yeah, there's a solution. I'm like, nah. Unless Jay-Z and Puffy gonna buy a team, I don't see no solutions here.
Hey, could they put this into the players' union? Could they put this into the collective bargaining unit agreement?
To do what?
I don't know. Put a number of that so many minority coaches must be hired.
Nah, it's quotas, bro. That won't do it.
I know it's quotas. I'm trying not to make it a quota. I'm trying to say maybe like so many have to be interviewed, yada yada yada. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know how the players can help in this. I don't know if they care, but
But like Troy Vincent just came out and said he works for the NFL.
Yeah, he works for the league.
He's like, but he's a black man. He said this is not an NFL problem.
No, so he puts it on ownership.
Yeah.
Because if you go ask the league, they'll tell you that, hey, we've given them the tools, we have the programs, we've given them the suggestions, but of course, their final answer is them. I mean, they are the owners of the team, and it's their prerogative to do what they want to do. So, you have to learn how to somehow reach 32 owners and change hearts and minds. And that's really what it comes out to.
We've been
Changing
trying
hearts
to
and minds.
changing hearts and minds is harder than what people think.
So that's sad.
Yeah. It's just like making me want to like the new Washington Commanders name. I'm not gonna like it. You're not gonna change my mind on that.
It's corny enough, bro. You're gonna like it. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna
It
buy me
might
some
be
gear.
corny enough.
If you see Sergeant Slaughter at the game being your mascot, you'll like it.
Sergeant Slaughter. I did like the black uniform fit. I thought that was kind of nice. But other than that, I'm not impressed yet. We gotta see what happens with that.
Same, man.
So
Just start selling GI Joes.
hey, speaking of that, yeah, Dan Snyder's back in the news again too. But we can talk about that later.
What do you
They
think?
always got something going on there. All right. So I don't know, man. We'll just have to see how this plays out. This is gonna play out. It could be months, it could be years. So I'm curious how fast this case is gonna travel through the court system.
What I want to know is when they do these investigations into that Cleveland and into that Miami thing about losing games,
Competition, yeah.
I want to know how many people related to those teams or in those
Bet money.
ownership circles
Yep.
place bets on them losing games. And I want to know if there's
they're
any
never gonna
traffic
tell
about
you
that. That's going to put people in jail.
That's never going to come out.
Dude, it's going to.
That's never going to come out. No one's willingly gonna. No, the NFL's not going to willingly let that.
But no,
information
Hey,
out.
they didn't want to let this stuff out with the Raiders.
in discovery, if with that court, if they start subpoenaing people's bank accounts and whatever, you see DraftKings bet was placed.
Yeah.
Trust me, it can come out.
It ain't gonna be hard to find.
Can. I just don't know if they'll get to the right people for that. You mean because what reason would you have to do discovery on the cousin of the owner of the Cleveland Browns? You're not going to have any reason to do that.
No, okay. No. Say so if you have an owner or the VP of whatever emailing his boys, hey, this is what you need to bet, or what's my money on whatever.
Yeah, you got to get to something. Yeah,
you these guys are reckless. They're reckless in the emails, bro. They're not caring.
Oh yeah, yeah. The emails, their emails reckless. Yes,
I'm sure they're gonna see, not see, but subpoena the text messages. He probably send a couple texts like, "Hey, we losing today. Place your bets."
Now, that's a whole new level. If it gets to that, that's racketeering. That's a whole bunch of stuff. That's a whole new level if that comes.
And that's when a minority group needs to come in and buy.
And even your boy, what's the guy I don't like? Robert Griffin III. Even he was like, "Bro, I played on those teams.
He was on that team,
and I saw all these veterans being cut right before the season, and I'm like." You putting us in danger. We haven't even discussed how much they played with the players' lives. You know what I'm saying? The players should be most upset about that part.
Yeah, I saw him, and it was a good point he made because I remember him. He was trying to make his comeback on that team.
Yeah, he was struggling,
and that offensive line was straight garbage. He didn't have a chance. He literally lasted, I think, 2 games.
Not in 2 games, because me and Benji went to the game in Washington.
Oh yeah, we went to that game.
He got hurt the very first game of the year.
Yeah, playing for Cleveland.
Yep.
Yeah,
because when we went to the game in Washington, it was like the 3rd week of the season. He wasn't playing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, he got hurt. He literally lasted 2 weeks. At the
Terrell Pryor and them.
Terrell Pryor was your wide receiver instead of your quarterback.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was playing wide receiver. But those teams were horrible. They didn't have a chance to win. But you know what? I mean, it set them up the draft Baker Mayfield and the draft Garrett. That was the whole goal.
So they could lose more.
No, yeah, that too.
Blake is terrible. I mean, what's his name?
I know Cleveland's looking at Cincinnati like that should have been us last year in the Super Bowl. It is not. You know, I'm sure they're just hating on Cincinnati right now. Speaking of that, do we want to cover the Super Bowl here? Is it too early for that? It's 2 weeks, right?
Too early for that.
All right, we'll get to that in 2 weeks.
We could talk about the Nets losing 6 in a row.
Okay, Harden had 4 points last night. That's all I'm gonna say. 4 points in a loss.
Ooh, I told you he was done, y'all.
Who did
I told
they play?
y'all.
Who did they lose to?
I don't know.
Was it the Raptors or was it? It wasn't good though. He scored 4 points. That's all I know, and they lost. No Durant. Durant's still out. So whatever. They've lost 5 in a row now.
6 in a row.
Hey, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're struggling, man. They're struggling. In the meantime, Ja and the Grizzlies are still on the rise. They had a good win at Madison Square Garden last night.
I don't like that win. That was not a good win.
It wasn't a good win, but it was a win.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned about Ja's
safety,
health,
approach.
Reckless.
That dude, he gonna break his neck, man.
He reckless.
But he is, yeah, he's reckless with the ball. I mean, he's almost better when he's playing off guard they move the ball. But when he's ISO Ja,
it's crazy.
Terrible. Don't get me wrong, he can thunk on you at any time, but he just ran into people. And I'm like, dude, you
does that. Yeah. He has a way about him. He's better off the ball. Because you know, in college, he didn't play point in college. He really played small forward in college. Because
they were a very small team.
Yeah, they were a small team. They had him playing small forward basically. Because in college he looked like he was 6'5", and you couldn't really tell.
His ups are ridiculous, dude.
44-inch vertical, man.
Dude,
how is he not in the dunk contest? How does that happen?
He said, I think he jokingly said, like, you give me $1 million, I'll do it.
You didn't give him $1 million.
I mean, I would have gave it to him. If I was a league, I would have been like, here's a brown paper bag. Here's $1 million. Ja.
They can't get him a sponsorship to pay him $1 million to go get it at that game.
This man doesn't have a signature shoe yet.
Signature shoes ain't what they used to be, though.
Don't you think he should still have one, though?
He should have a brand endorsing him, yes, but
he doesn't have that yet. Is he young, man? Is he?
If you look at the younger players, I mean, I think Donovan Mitchell just got one.
Yeah, and Adidas at that.
Yeah, it's the signature shoe isn't it's not what it used to be.
Them Batman's still wearing Kobe's. They don't care about shit.
Yeah, they still wearing old Kobe's, top Kobe's.
And that's what Ja does. Ja wears Kobe's, he wears KD's, he wears Kyrie, he wears them all. So it's like, you know, he just wears whatever shoe he wants to put on for that day. But yeah, signature shoes ain't what they used to be. But yeah, I mean the 4 pick for the dunk contest: Obi Toppin, Jalen Green,
so
Juan Toscano Anderson, and who's the 4th one?
Yeah, I don't know. I know Obi Toppin. He's a beast.
Yeah, who's number 3? I can't think of who the 3rd guy was.
It's not the dude from Charlottesville, from Charlotte?
Bridges? No.
Yeah, Bridges not in it?
He's not in it. No.
Bridges and Ja need to be in the dunk contest. Both of them Bams go hard.
Exactly. You should have Bridges and Ja. That should be your headline.
And Obi Toppin
in the dunk contest. It's crazy. Yeah, and Obi. I hope Obi wins this year so you don't have to do it again. But you know, hopefully Obi can pull one out. Like
y'all believe
6'9" dude win it for once. That'd be nice.
Y'all believe in this? Bradley Beal is open to being traded to the Sixers. Or y'all believe in this report?
I don't believe it till it happens, man. Bradley is so wishy-washy. So basically, the problem with the Wizards is that Beal and Dinwiddie don't get along.
Oh, just is that like what it
Bill,
is?
Just like Bill and John Wall did.
Just like Bill and John Wall. And the common denominator in this is Beal.
Well, John Wall didn't get along with James. I mean, what you have two players that are not very good. They're not as good as they think they are.
I agree with that.
That's the problem here.
They both think their talents are greater than what they are. Yes.
And I think if Bill does go to the Sixers, he knows who's the top dog in Philly. And then B will tell you I'm the top dog. It might slap you if you don't get in line.
That's what I like about him now. He will. I think, and that's why they play so well now, because they all know who the ball goes to. It goes to Embiid and nobody else. We play off of him. He's the man. Harris knows it. Maxey knows it. Everyone knows it.
Hey,
now Beal, he better fall in line. I don't care what team he goes to. He's the number 2 player on any team he goes to. So he better fall in line.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. I agree.
100%.
Yeah,
but Maxey, can Maxey get most improved?
He balling, man.
He should. He should get most
improved.
He definitely
should.
They won a game the other day without Embiid because he put up 30.
Against John Morant.
Yeah, he beat the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
They beat the Grizzlies without Embiid.
Maxey had 33.
Balling out.
That's why I'm worried about John and them. I don't know how they finish close games. They depend a lot on Jaren Jackson hitting threes at the end of games when they're close. And
he has the worst post up game for a 6'11" dude I've ever seen. He got a little jump hook, and that's about it. You know, he's 6'11", but he plays like he's 6'5". Watch him.
He don't play D like that. He's like the third leader in blocks.
He doesn't. He'll block shots. But if you watch his offense, he brings the ball down so low to his body. He never keeps the ball above his head. So it makes him look like he's 6'5" when he plays.
Yeah, he dribbles too much.
He dribbles too much, and the ball is too close to his body. I mean, and dudes block him. It's hard for him to get a shot off because the ball is above his head. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, you're 6'11", dude.
Yeah.
They should not touch your shot. He has a low release point on all the shots.
He don't got any post game at all.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm waiting for what's his name to come back from Memphis. Dylan Brooks. They're doing all this without Dylan Brooks.
They need Brooks.
They need him. Him and
still missing somebody?
Dylan Brooks, they're starting shooting guard.
No, that dude's back.
Baines been filling in, basically.
Wait, Baines is not the original starter?
No, he usually starts at the 3 or comes off the bench.
You know Brooks, the guy that he's a defensive guy and a shooter.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, okay. Baines is shooting 41%.
Dude with the straight hair. You know I'm talking about, Dylan Brooks.
He gets on people's nerves.
Yeah, he gets on people's nerves. Yeah, so when he comes back, he'll be full strength.
So, real quick before we wrap up, Utah, Ingles went down with the ACL.
Done.
So is Utah out of it? They're done pretty much, you think?
Finished.
Utah's done.
It's cooked.
Now, you know what? It's funny, though. Before Ingles got hurt, what's his name? The center. What's his name? I forget his name. Tall dude. 7'2", Eiffel Tower.
Rudy Gobert.
You know, they lost 7 games in a row because he wasn't playing. I didn't realize is he that important to that team?
Defensively, they could cheat more if he's on the floor.
Yeah, and Donovan Mitchell hasn't been playing either. What is up with Mitchell? What does he got?
He wants out of Utah.
I don't think he wants to play.
He wants out of Utah.
So what caused this? Why does he want to leave now?
He said it's no help.
So go ahead, Ben.
He has help. If he passed the ball to Rudy Gobert, he won't pass him the damn ball.
If they don't post that cat up.
Rudy Gobert could average 30 points a game easy. He could average 30. They just won't give him the ball.
No.
It's freaking ridiculous.
He should average 18, 20 a game. He should. But I find it funny that Donovan's unhappy after Dwayne Wade becomes part of team ownership. I find that funny.
What's funny about it? It's got nothing to do with
it. Just kind of times up, though. You didn't hear nothing about Donovan being unhappy until Dwayne Wade became part of ownership. That's
Man,
all I'm saying.
That was bound to happen. You could. I
It's
knew.
Utah, man.
I knew that was going to happen before they hit the bubble.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're only gonna last for so long in Utah.
Only black people happy in Utah is Carmelo.
It's a market, man. It's just a market. It's like Indiana. You know, nothing wrong with these places. They're great cities, great towns, but it's hard to keep a number one option there. They want
It's not,
more.
but it's not about a market, bro. It's about winning. If
Well, that's what I'm saying. You need the ability to win.
if
You
Utah
can't
was
bring free agents to those good
if
places.
Utah was winning, he would be fine. But he's not.
I mean,
winning.
they're third in the West, right?
Yeah, they're winning, so I don't really get that we're not winning because they win games.
They're top 4 in the West, at least. I know they're top 4.
Are they next level?
No,
Making-
they're not a championship at all.
I'm sorry, that's what I mean. Making a deep run, finals, semifinals. That's
Isn't
what I'm
that
talking
Mitchell's fault that they're not making the deep run?
about. Yeah, Mitchell ain't that good. He's a volume shooter.
That's not
He
Mitchell's
is.
fault.
He's a low percentage shooter. I mean, he needs help to win. He's not going to do it by himself.
But that's not Mitchell's fault. That's the way they play. It's that fault.
Yeah,
The way they play is terrible.
who's
There's
their
not
coach?
Snyder.
The
I
way
heard
they
somebody
play is
giving him praise. He sucks. I'm like, what?
Go ahead, Tyrone, on their style of play because I've heard a lot of stuff about their style of play.
the way they play is we're 3-point shots first, 2-point shots last resort.
Correct.
Sometimes you have to work that mid-range, work the post, and then kick it out for the 3. And you'll get open 3s, not contested 3s, or you're working the shot clock down to 5 seconds and then chucking up a shot.
Hence Benji's point of Rudy Gobert should be averaging more points.
Yeah, and I agree. And another thing, I think Donovan Mitchell's dribbled the damn ball too much. He's been watching James Harden.
Yeah.
I would say it's the Houston model without James Harden.
Yeah, he's a ball stopper too.
Yes.
All right, y'all. It's about that time. Any final words?
Go Commanders.
Hey, why did Joe Theismann release that like 2 days early?
He was drunk.
He was on a podcast and just blurted it out. Yeah, we're going to be the Commanders. Yeah, like the day before.
He released it 2 days early.
He was literally 2 days before. Like he did a podcast, and the guy asked him in a slick way, like, "Hey, what do you think of the new Washington name?" And Joe just went in there, "Hey, the Commanders is a great name."
Man, Joe's like, what's Joe? 75, 80 right
Joe
now?
is 70 plus.
Yeah,
God bless him.
You can't blame him.
Hey, he was still there at the actual release of the day, though, right with Snyder. You know, they actually brought in, they went old school. They brought Brian Arakpo back. They had Joe Theismann. I think Chris Samuels was there. And, you know, they brought back some of their older. What's his name? Your boy from Virginia Tech. Who's the cornerback?
D'Angelo Hall.
Nah, the other one. Oh, maybe it was D'Angelo Hall and Fred Smoot. Maybe it's one of them.
Did they bring Clinton Portis? If they didn't bring Clinton Portis back, then I don't care.
You know, Clinton about to be in jail.
About to jail, eh?
He about to go to jail.
What'd he do?
For stealing insurance money or something like that?
Concussion fraud, man.
Oh.
You didn't hear about that hustle?
No.
He going to the big.
He's going to federal prison.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he wasn't in
He
that
about-
thing with the NBA players.
Same model.
Same model.
Damn.
Yeah.
He about to be part of the chain gang.
He basically $4 million.
Damn, Portis.
Yeah, I feel bad for these guys doing that, man. I don't know that you're that desperate that you need to make a little cash. I'm like, y'all should have enough seed money to start any business you want to start. You shouldn't have to resort to stealing. It's just crazy.
Hey, everybody can't work for Eastern Motors after they leave. That's all I'm saying.
That's my. You need to go work for Eastern Motors, then, if that's the point. You could go be the general manager of Eastern Motors.
Eastern
you're
Motors
Clinton Portis.
Is Eastern Motors still open?
Yeah, they're big now. I mean,
I
he
thought it was
work for Mercedes or something. Mercedes of Alexandria. I mean, all the commercials they used to do for him. I mean, go get a
I
job.
thought it was Auto Giants now.
Nah, well, Easterns is like they try to be legit now.
Eastern's like halfway legit now. I
Yeah,
remember
they're
back
like
in the day.
almost
That used to be the most bootleg place to buy cars.
Yeah, they're like almost a legitimate car dealership now.
That joint, like the joint you took me to buy my first model. Like, we'll get you approved with a 22% interest rate.
Oh yeah. Hey, you got paid to play, man. Back in the day, pay to play. Hey, with that, credit scores are important, everybody.
Boy, are they?
Yes. Keep yourself out of the riffraff with high credit scores. All I got to say. It will improve your life. Hey, with that, this has been the No Culture for Old Men podcast. Don't forget to like or follow us on IG and YouTube. We will see you next time.